Hey guys, we're out here at Driven Results. It's a paint and body shop. We are gonna go in and see what they've done to the car. Let's go check it out.
So we're here the next morning after painting, and this is just absolutely beautiful. You can see the so smooth shine. We came here this morning to get it unmasked and get it outside. So once we pull it out of the booth, we'll take a walk around out in the sun.
So I walk in and he's putting in the sound deadening, which he's kind of been calling it, what were we called? Dynamat, which is just a name brand, but this is actually made by Rockville. It's the same thing basically. You're putting it in on all the internal surfaces, kind of give it some sound deadening and heat resistant, right?
Yep, exactly. All the flat, big surfaces, like this door used to ring pretty badly, and now I don't know how well it'll go through, but
yeah,
it sounds like a Mercedes now.
So it costs more.
Yeah.
You can see the doors are on, but not cleared yet. That's why they're a little bit different color.
We forgot them outside the booth door. So I'll clear those later.
Mirrors are on. Headlight buckets are on. Grill is painted and on.
Yep.
And everything up here has new fasteners, right?
Correct. All stainless, brand new fasteners.
And then the fender ones were painted just like they would have been. I mean, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind of a weekend throughout the Thanksgiving weekend with prepping, final prepping, and then I thought it was pretty well prepped, but I brought it to the shop, and instantly Mitch said, No, we have a lot more to do. So I get over there and he starts pointing out first, oh, look at this little divot right here, or look at this primer that hasn't been sanded, and it ended up taking, from the time I got there with a car that was basically prepped to finally putting the last coat of clear coat was 12 hours with masking, prepping. We did have a couple of issues in the booth that we were able to overcome without, major disaster, and got everything fixed up. But it did take, it's not a slow process or for the faint of heart. It takes 12 hours if your car happens to be already basically ready to mask and paint.
Yeah, I mean, I was there, we were filming it, I don't even remember what time, 2:30, 3 o'clock?
Yep.
And that's about what time the first coat went on, and you weren't done until?
About 11:30 to 12, somewhere around that time frame is when we finally were cleaning the gun.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. And when we talk about how much you spend on the car, all this stuff, nobody really figures in labor if you are doing it.
Right.
But if you had a shop do this, I mean, the car would be worth more than its value.
Right. Just the 12 hours of the 12 hours of labor that we did painting wasn't even the other 18 to 20 that that was just prep work once it was already body worked and in primer. To get everything final sanded, reprime certain areas that needed it, blocking it. It's an amazing amount of time that it takes.
Yes, but I mean, look, it's worth it.
I think so. Yeah.
All right, so the car is back at the shop. Paint fully done on the body itself. We got doors done, fenders done. The hood is not done.
No.
The hatch is not done.
Hood, hatch, and cowl panel in front of the windshield need to be finished.
So that's the three major parts.
Yep.
To get the whole body done.
Yep, that's the last of the color.
Yeah. Fenders are on for good?
Yeah, they were actually mounted before painting because of the fasteners. Not only that, I wanted to finish everything out, mount those, and be able to paint the insides of everything and have it just stay there, not be taken apart again.
Right. And doors are on for good. You didn't paint with the doors on.
Correct.
You trimmed them out, masked them off, and then painted the doors separate.
Yeah, painted the front of the door, the outside of the doors, and then yesterday we mounted and aligned them. Tonight, one of the plans is to blast and paint the strikers and the latches and get all that actually functioning.
And that way we get the door to actually shut.
And nobody can over-close it.
Yeah.
Because right now, if you slammed it, it would literally hit paint on paint.
Yeah,
so
it's not a good thing. You don't want that.
Need to be careful.
Yeah. So at this point, what's next? Like, what do you want to do next? When is suspension going in? When can you get it down on its wheels?
So I'm working on interior, obviously, right now with the sound deadening, carpet. I have pieces coming in, maybe even still today. I know it looks like it's midnight out there, but UPS can still pass this at this hour. The first thing that goes into the car is the heater box, which is that contraption over there.
Which looks a lot better than last time I saw it.
And again, I was waiting on fasteners. I didn't have the right, I had the right screws. They were just the old ones.
Yeah.
I didn't have the right new fasteners. So that's going back together also probably tonight, and that'll get installed on the firewall. Then the dash, the carpets, the interior literally could be as if you could drive it.
And honestly, when people think of cars, they think, wow, there's just parts everywhere. Sometimes they're just kind of like, oh, I can't deal with it. Kind of like I am with numbers. I see a sheet full of numbers and they just all jumble to me.
Yeah.
Some people are like that with cars and mechanical parts. But honestly, there's not much that goes on the interior of a car when you break it down.
Yeah, and that's the only way to build a car is to literally break it down into segments. You look at that pile of parts over there, I can see where you would get overwhelmed.
Right.
Sometimes I do a little bit, but if you break it down into tonight, I'm going to put on the heater box and let's say the door strikers. Okay, that's two things that are done.
Yeah.
Those are finished with. Two less pieces on the floor.
Yeah.
And then I'll do something like let's sand fuel lines. Mm-hmm. You mentioned suspension. It's that time. I need to get it off of this rack and be able to roll it in and out of the lift now.
Right.
So we're this week and this weekend concentrating on suspension parts. They need to be sanded, rust treated, and then painted gloss black. So it's going to be really pretty with undercoat with gloss black accents. It's going to look nice.
Tell people what is the importance of your pressures in your paint gun when you're going to go and paint the hood separately. How easy is that to make that hood not the same color as this, even though you're using the same paint, same gun, everything, same room? How can you mess that up to where you put it on and it looks totally different color?
Excellent question, because it is a valid problem. But with a solid color, not so bad. This color, I could pretty much do whatever. I can paint another piece here in my booth.
Right.
Because it's a solid color. As long as I'm painting over the same substrate, which is going to be gray primer, and put 2 coats of base, 3 coats of clear, it's exactly the same. If you're dealing with metallics, you literally, it's a hard word to say, literally have to look at the pressures you sprayed at. If you spray 2 different things 2 different days, you better document the pressures you sprayed at so you get the same atomization and the same layout.
The same amount of particulates, I guess you can call it.
You need that metallic to lay down identical to the previous time. You get it laid down thicker or less, but panel to panel, and it's going to look horrible. And
different size nozzles make a difference.
Definitely
your pattern makes a difference when you're spraying, right?
If you sprayed your car, normally most people do spray your car horizontally, you don't want to hang your fender and spray it this way, vertically, I guess it would be, because it's hanging vertically. because then it would be really bad.
Yeah.
Your flip would be completely wrong. When you put the fender on, it would look like a completely different pattern. So you want to make sure you keep your same distance, same spray patterns, same pressures, of course the same gun and nozzle.
Right.
That's
Right.
very obvious.
But with these colors, not that big of a deal. There's no metallics in
No,
these.
a solid color, like I said, same color underlayment, substrate, and the same amount of paint.
And that's good also, like let's say somebody rubs up against your fender with the zipper, or somebody kind of nicks your door when they're next to you.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. But it's easier to repair than a metallic color.
Definitely, because it is going to be blended no matter what.
Right.
I would basically sand the entire door, paint the blemish, and blend it out, and then clear the whole door. So much easier to do with a solid color because of, again, metallics.
Yeah. Now, during this time, did they have metallics yet in paint?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, this came in a really pretty metallic green. I think the brown had a metallic in it.
Okay. Well,
and the silver.
Brown.
Right. Don't do brown.
Yeah.
But the silver also did. Oh, and they were single stages, by the way. They didn't have base coat, clear coat. They didn't do that.
From the factory, it was just...
This would have been a single stage paint.
Single stage, no color, then clear.
Right.
It's just all in one. What's the advantage of using that? Just time?
Single stage?
Yeah.
Cheaper.
Yeah, cheaper and time product wise. And
yeah, 3 coats of single stage is less than 5 coats, and I did 5 rounds around this. So if you did 2 to 3 coats of single stage and sent it out the door.
Yeah, and when you're building hundreds of thousands, millions of cars, and back then they didn't have robots doing it.
Right.
It was still hand painted.
I assume, yeah. I think they may have been. I don't.
Nobody's going to check us.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you do in the comments know something like that, let me know, because
I'd be curious from the Nissan assembly line. That would be awesome.
And also the clear coat gives a UV protection too that single stage paint has some of, but this is almost like a sunblock. Right.
So was single stage kind of common across the board during this year on all cars, or was it just these?
Now, that's a question I really don't know, but I would assume that the more expensive Mercedes and such may or may not have clear coat.
So let's say somebody bought one in 71 that was cleared, and then their other car was single stage. They had a bumper sticker on both of them. In 30 years, you take that bumper sticker off, it's going to be more shiny under that single stage because the sun wasn't beaten down on it, right? And on the clear coat, it might be the same color under that sticker.
Could be to some degree. I mean, I guess it depends on if you're in the desert you know, there's a lot of outside factors, but yes, there is some, well, quite a bit actually of UV protection in clear coat.
I did bring something for you, Paul. I brought my Ryobi battery, and I was wondering, where does it go? Where do we put it?
In a Ryobi tool?
Is that where you got the paint from?
No, it is not, and it looks a lot different in some lights. Maybe at times it might look like Ryobi yellow, but it has nothing to do with anything trademarked by a Ryobi. Unless they want to sponsor me for real.
Oh yeah, then it would get a nice banner across that.
I'd put them all over the place then.
Nice.
Buy me free parts.
So it looks great. How do you feel about it?
I absolutely love it. It's not probably, this is the shiniest thing I've ever painted straight out of the booth. This is 2 coats of base coat with 3 coats of urethane clear and not a single run. If I can find a piece of trash, it's minimal. Like there might be a speck of dust at right here, barely. I mean, you can't see it on the camera. It won't even show. I mean, it's the tiniest little thing. So that booth at my cousin's place is just absolutely fabulous. And he had just changed the filters and re-coated the floor. I mean, it was as good as it can possibly get.
Yeah, and I see you've already started putting parts on. You've got your badges on there. And of course, I saw you painted under there black, just like they did from the factory, right?
Yeah, they actually brush painted that stuff. And also, let me pass right here. They, like where the grills would be on the sides here for the airflow, they painted behind that. So if you look this way through the little tiny holes, you wouldn't see the car color behind it. It was just a flat black.
Yeah. So you got your taillights restored and installed.
Mocked up, yes. I haven't fully installed them. In fact, I got the screws today from Warrior Fastener that I needed. I didn't have, here they are. Yeah, I needed some that were a little bit longer. The ones that came in the car were about this long, and where some of the metal had gotten deformed a bit, I straightened it, but there's still a little bit more gap between there and the light, so I want to be able to really pull it together.
Well, it's looking gorgeous. Let's look at the section that you redid here. I mean, it looks just as good as the other side.
I'm really happy with the body lines. From here down is pretty much metal with just a couple of little dings in it, but here on up was all the skim coat, and we were able to get it to have a really nice flowing body line. Everything came out just fabulous. Shopcat.
Keeps the mice out.
100%. That's why you're here.
That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Have you had the cat tear up something that it shouldn't?
Yes.
Supposed to? Yeah.
She messed up the seats in the Figaro.
Oh.
Yeah. Luckily for her, I would not harm the cat. Disclaimer. But I'm already redoing the seats in that.
Yeah.
But nothing else so far. No, just that one seat was just couldn't. It was just the perfect thing to claw.
So talking about cats in the cars, one reason mice and squirrels kind of chew on wires for their teeth, but also I've heard that the older wires have soy.
Newer.
The newer wires have soy.
Yeah.
Can the cat tell that? Well, you don't have any newer cars in here.
Nope. In fact, I don't have a car new enough to have soy wires.
Oh, really?
Thankfully, my 4Runner's a 2017.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they didn't start that till 21 or something like that.
So it's that new. I didn't know that.
Again, I could be wrong. Anything I say that is incorrect, feel free to mention it in the comments. I don't mind learning the right thing. But whatever year it was, a soy-based wire sheathing is basically food for mice, or they think it is. People go to the extreme of putting like hot sauce spray on their wiring harnesses and things so that the mice won't get them. I mean,
you don't need to do that here.
No, these are all old plastic wires, very much.
Well, we've seen the car in full color. You guys have been waiting for it since episode 1. We're not going to stop here. We're going to keep going. We've got a couple more surprises. We'll do the wheel reveal at some point.
When I know. I don't even know yet.
Oh, and I finally thought about, you've been talking about the slot mags, and I didn't really understand what you're talking about, but in the muscle car world, they call those kidney beans.
Okay.
Because they're kind of shaped like a kidney bean.
Totally makes sense.
So
I don't know why I've never heard that. Being around cars
I don't see
forever.
a muscle car around here.
Well, I've been around them though. No, never. They've always been called slot mags.
Oh, okay. So you've seen the Rolls Royce in here in the videos before. You see the shirt I'm wearing, Hot Rods and Heroes 3. That was this past Saturday. Paul came out with the Rose, and Mariah came in. Which one?
Figaro. It's
Figaro,
outside,
which is outside now. Great event. Search the channel for the video. We raised a lot of money for local veterans. It was a great cause. So thank you to coming out and
no
bring
problem.
the car. But for this episode, I think we're done for this episode. And next episode, what can we hope to see?
By next week, we may have a parts car here or another car here.
Let me stop you here. I've known Paul for a long time. 30 years almost, maybe. He can never buy just one car of each kind. I'm surprised he only has one Rolls Royce.
Can't find any.
But he buys a car or a motorcycle to redo, and he's like, oh, I need 2 more. I need 3 more just to get some parts.
There is no better parts store than a parts vehicle. When you can walk out and grab an OEM hose clamp, let's say, off of the other bike, replate it and put it on yours. You just bought or got maybe an unreplaceable hose clamp.
Right.
From another.
And then when you're done, you could sell the parts car and make some of your money back.
Yeah, definitely have and probably will.
Yeah. So you'll have another car here?
Possibly. And then during this week in the evenings, we're going to work on some of those suspension parts. You might see us doing some painting of those and maybe hopefully install. heater box is going in at minimum, but my interior pieces are going to start flowing in. So I'd really like to, it'll just feel good to get that completed.
Yeah. Next week, next episode, we'll come back to the shop. We'll see what he's done and we'll keep you updated. But until then, just drive it.